Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video may contain explicit descriptions of drug use, violence, and sexual situations. Viewer discretion is advised as this content may not be suitable for all audiences.
So once again, we are returning to the world of Hunter S. Thompson and Kingdom of Fear. Right now we're in the middle of a land dispute, or development dispute, I guess you could say, was going on. So let us continue.
That was an exaggeration. But Mac Myers, the deputy district attorney whose office conducted the investigation, came within a hairbreadth of bringing charges against Thompson for firing an automatic weapon.
Well, yeah. You know, it is sometimes accountability happens.
In the end, he couldn't prove such a weapon had been fired. Thompson had a permit for a non-functioning automatic weapon, and when he was asked to turn in the gun for inspection, he presented a destroyed machine gun that had been packed in viscous antitrust navel jelly that rendered ballistics tests inconclusive.
There you go.
3 days after the shooting, while the district attorney's office debated whether to press charges against Thompson, Watkins woke to a nightmare. The ponds he had stocked with trophy-sized trout during the past 3 years were shimmering with the silver bellies of dead fish.
That's never a good thing, especially when it's your dead fish.
More than 600 trout, some weighing up to 20 pounds, were dead. The waters had been poisoned in the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that would, get into somebody's, irritation, would irritate somebody.
And Watkins immediately blamed the slaughter on his neighbors, charging them with employing terrorist tactics against him because they didn't like his tastes and style. He went on to say that the multi-million-dollar, 17,000-square-foot main house of his estate would not be completed for another 2 years.
So, the thing is, in this day and age, you've got more video cameras, surveillance, drones, and everything. You probably, whoever acting and doing these things, whether at Thompson's behest or sympathizing with Thompson or just taking it upon themselves, would probably be damn near impossible to do and get away with in this day and age.
But he'd be damned if he was going to let anybody scare him off his land. "I'm just gearing up to get tough," he told reporters, warning that he would hire gunmen, and if I have to, I will put guards all along that road. I can afford it. The level-headed Stranahan shared the sheriff's concern, and they issued joint statements calling for everyone to calm down before someone was hurt.
Yeah, the standard issue, calm your panties down and just chill. Which is not something I imagine worked real well with Thompson.
Down at the tavern, where talk of Watkins's problems was normally greeted with raucous jokes, there was disbelief that someone from the valley would actually poison Woody Creek's waters. Watkins or no Watkins, this is the West after all, and water isn't messed with. The new mood was illustrated by the large glass that appeared on the tavern's bar, accompanied by a sign that said, "We're sorry the trout died. Your money can put a trout back in Floyd's ponds. Woody Creek wants the world to know we don't think killing trout is a way to solve the problem."
Which is a good thing. Now, if Homeboy killed his own trout to make a statement to try to, throw blame or shame or try to get somebody put in prison or locked up for a while, that's a different story.
Let's put the trout back, and then we will talk about the differences. Thompson, resentful of innuendos that he might have been behind the fish poisoning, offered a $500 reward to anyone who could clear up the mystery and said that perhaps he should poison some of his peacocks. The collection jar had just begun to fill with bills when Watkins's fish story began to unravel.
Uh-oh. Here we go. The truth comes out always.
A disaffected Beaver Run Ranch employee quit his job, and soon he was signing a sheriff's affidavit testifying that the night before the trout kill, Watkins's 23-year-old son Lance and Roberto, the Mexican foreman, poured from 4 to 5 gallons of an algicide called Cutrine Plus into the fish ponds. Cutrine Plus is a copper-based chemical normally used to control algae growth. Chemists have told us that the water from the ponds had a copper content that was a zillion times the lethal level for...
Damn. I mean, probably not a zillion, but you know, well, I don't know. Don't know what the actual copper content versus what a trout can tolerate. So, you know, it could be.
Trout. Sheriff Broadus reported at a tavern meeting of the Woody Creek Caucus, an informal assembly of valley landowners and residents that includes both Watkins and Thompson. The sheriff's investigation concluded that the ponds had been poisoned not by antisocial outsiders, but by accident, by Watkinson's own son and his Mexican major domo.
Uh-oh. Now, even though they declared it an accident, was it?
We have a difference of opinion here, Watkins defiantly told his neighbors, to hoots of derisive laughter. Refusing to accept the sheriff's verdict, he cited his own fish biologist, Dr. Harold Hagen, who insisted that the level of Cutrine Plus in the water could not have been enough to massacre the trout. More hoots. My ranch is different from George Stranahan's or yours, but it doesn't make any difference, Watkins finally blurted out. Do you mean I don't have the right to paint my house pink if I want to?
Well, in this modern day and age of HOAs, maybe not. But back then, we don't know.
And you have a right to paint your house blue? Referring to one of Thompson's accusations that only a vampire or a werewolf would want to live in his house, Watkins said, "Well, I'm neither a vampire nor a werewolf, but I can tell you one thing. I sure as hell wouldn't want to live in Hunter's house."
I don't know. From the interviews and stuff I've seen, videos, I think Hunter Thompson had a pretty cool house, just to be honest with you.
But I don't care if he lives there. Everyone cracked up, and in the spirit of goodwill that reigned until the end of the meeting, Thompson withdrew his original charge about the Watkins house. "I apologize for the vampire thing," he said. "I was in a weird mood, but we're not talking about whether we like or dislike your house. No one is oppressing you. It is not about individual rights. We all live in this valley. This is a one-road community. We all have to live here, you included, and we are sliding into weird squabbles here."
And we're having basically the same weird-ass squabbles in this day and age. I mean, so yeah, and just think about it. If you belong to an HOA or live in an HOA or something like that, you've basically given up your rights. You have surrendered, and have no room to complain because you made yourself a slave to the HOA and they are your owners. And that's just the way it is.
But the point is that we don't want to see the life of this valley poisoned. That is as bad as poisoning fish. The truth is that Woody Creek has become urbanized in the last 20 years, Sheriff Broadus says rather sadly. I've told Hunter that, and I've told him he can't be out shooting on the road as he used to. His neighbors are complaining more and more about his peacocks screeching and the gunshots in the night. Today, Woody Creek is different. What is happening now is that the billionaires are pushing out the millionaires.
And real soon, probably within the next, 15, 20 years, it's going to be the trillionaires pushing out the billionaires who are pushing out the millionaires who are fucking the little guys.
Thompson knows this, of course, and says that perhaps if he could afford to move, and could find somewhere as interesting to move to, he would. But he can't, and he won't. Sometimes, though, he gets tired. Living out here like this doesn't go with being pushed around and run over by yo-yos, he says. It isn't that you can't win against them. It is that you don't want to fight them all the time. I don't mind fucking with Floyd, but that is not my job.
And that's a very realistic, very adult attitude to take.
If both of us are going to continue to live in this valley, he is going to have to learn that he has to live with us more than we have to live with him.
Very valid point.
As of this writing, Watkins has imported 2 Bengal tigers to inhabit the new caged run along his driveway. Everyone is holding their breath while we wait to find out what's going to be next, says Gannon. We've reached the ultimate in ridiculousness. Hunter S. Thompson, meanwhile, is talking about getting some elephants.
Hey, elephants are cool. I mean, I don't think he ever did, but, you know, elephants are cool.
That is the famous story of Floyd and the giant porcupine, as told by my good friend Lauren Jenkins, Pulitzer Prize-winning war correspondent for Newsweek and The Washington Post, and currently foreign news editor for NPR.
Interesting. Newsweek. Yeah, that's now that is a weird. That Newsweek has de-evolved into a weird ass. Kind of publication. I guess technically it's a publication. I guess technically it's a news magazine, but there is room for doubt.
Back then, in 1990, he was editor-owner of the venerable Aspen Times, and I was a major stockholder in a slick new magazine he started in New York called Smart.
I don't remember that magazine. Maybe it never left the New York area. Maybe it was just like a local New York thing. I remember when JFK Jr. did his magazine, but who knows?
Truth, I was probably a minor stockholder, but I had a keen personal interest in it, a profoundly vested interest, which I immediately put to good use when I was suddenly threatened with the possibility of going to federal prison on RICO charges of attempted premeditated murder with intent to kill.
Ooh, that's probably never a good thing. I would bet good money that that's not a good thing.
Felony possession and public use at midnight of automatic weapons, and a fistful of other degrading charges ranging from dangerous drugs to animal cruelty and gross sexual imposition.
Yeah. Somebody's laying that shit on thick.
It was an extremely bad moment on its face, and many people said I was done for. He's gone too far this time, they said. What kind of dangerous maniac would attack a man's home with machine guns in the dead of night and then poison all of his fish the next day? Well, shucks. Only a real vicious dope fiend, I guess.
Yeah. Yep, got a point.
Some white trash shithead with nothing left to lose. The jails are full of those bastards. Kill them all at once, for all I care. It was not easy for me to retain a reputable attorney under those circumstances. Nobody wanted to touch it. A mood of desperation settled over the owl farm. My girlfriend went off to Princeton, and I was left alone to barricade myself inside the compound and wait for the attack I knew was coming. I was receiving daily ultimatums from the ATF and the district attorney. They wanted all my guns immediately, or they would come out with a SWAT team and get them.
That would have been an interesting thing. We'll go ahead and call this video good here. This is a good stopping point. Then we'll jump back into it in the next video. So, we'll see you around. Remember to be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.